Good morning, guys.
Let's talk about being a town day this morning for the form, this new form.
You know, I was telling the group I met with this morning, I don't do a lot of things like this, um, but I had such a wonderful time last time I was here. Uh, I was excited to come back again because everybody was fantastic. I love coming to Dallas. Uh, and I told them, I don't even realize why I came the first time, but I had a great time. Everybody was fantastic, so I was really looking forward to coming back.
What do you think about this, the way this NBA season stacks up, Jack? What's the first thing you think of when you say, good Lord, look at this league?
I'm not a fan of the super teams. One of the reasons I admire and respect Dirk Nowitzki was trying to win for a particular city. That's why I think a lot of old guys really admire and respect Dirk. We're not a fan of the super teams. Um, it's unfortunate the way things are now. Uh, Everybody knew last year it was going to be the Cavaliers and the Warriors in the finals, and the Warriors were going to win. And it's probably going to be that again. But Eddie, these guys all want to play together. They don't want to compete. And It's not a lot of fun working right now. I'm just wasting 7 months of my life. I wish it's like, okay, let's just get to the finals and see what happens. And then the thing that's really going to suck for the NBA this year is everybody's going to spend the entire year talking about where LeBron's going to go next year. We've been through this like every year for the last few years, worried about where a guy's going to go. It started with LeBron and Carmelo and things like that. So it's just not a lot of fun working right now.
Can you still build a championship in this league, or do you have to buy it?
Well, first of all, I would like for teams to build it because I think we do a disservice to the fans. As a fan, I'm not sure why I would buy season tickets if my team is no good or not even competitive. So I think that what's going to happen in the next few years, the fans at some point are going to say, why am I buying season tickets? Why am I supporting my team? We're not going to be any good because my guy might leave when he's good enough. So I think the next few years, the NBA's got to take a step back and says, what can we do? Also, the players got to say, I want to win for my city. I'm not going to bandwagon jump on another team that's good. I wish the players would stand up. I'm not sure anything the owners can do right now, but I would love to see the fans stand up and say, hey, you know what? I want to win for my city here. I want to play my whole career at this one city. Like a Dirk Nowitzki, like a Reggie Miller, guys like that.
Your thoughts on Dennis Smith, draft pick for the Mavs?
I think Dennis Smith is a stud. I think I picked him for Rookie of the Year. I think it's going to come down to him and De'Aaron Fox. I think they're both terrific. But I love what the Mavs did drafting him. I think, like I say, I had to flip a coin between him and De'Aaron Fox for Rookie of the Year, and it could go either way.
If he can play, if he turns out to be what they think he might be, does that fast track the Mavericks at all for relevance again?
Well, they need a bunch of players. Uh, the, uh, I'm not sure they shouldn't be tanking, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm not sure if they shouldn't be tanking because you need a bunch of young players to feel like the future is bright. And like I said, I love Dennis Smith, but the Mavs, I don't see how they can make the playoffs. If they make the playoffs, it'll be as a lower seed anyway, but I don't see them making the playoffs.
Talk about the season starting early. They should get away from all the back-to-backs. Since players don't show up, the star players.
Well, I want to commend the NBA for, these poor babies can't play back-to-back games. They're making $20, $30, $40 million a year, but we just want to make it convenient for them. That $40, $50 million they're making a year just can't stress them out. So we're just going to make it more comfortable for them. The private jets and the four-star hotels is not enough. So I just want to commend the NBA for just making it so convenient for these poor babies. I am so angry at the NBA for telling these guys, wait a minute, we're paying you $30, $40 million a year. You can't play basketball 2 days in a row. I think it's a travesty that the NBA didn't just tell these guys to play basketball 2 days in a row, moving the season up. It's just a joke to me.
How was y'all able to do it? Stay in the hotel, get up the next morning, catch the bus, fly for another game. How was y'all older guys was able to do it, and these guys have a better workout routine than y'all had?
Well, I don't know if they had a better workout. We had guys who worked out, but we flew commercial. We flew commercial, and we were able to play back to back. I've sit with older guys who took trains and played 3 days in a row. But I think it's a joke and a travesty that these guys won't play back-to-back games with all the private jets and all the stuff they get. And the NBA caved in. Instead of making them play back-to-back games, move the season up. I think it's a joke.
Yeah, you ever wish you were born 20 years later when you see these outrageous sums?
Well, Eddie, I don't go crazy. Yes, number one. But I also made more money. I made more money than Bill Russell, and he's clearly and Will Chamberlain, those guys. But number one, God bless these guys for making all this money. And, I was talking to a group this morning. One of the reasons Russell Westbrook is my favorite player, that guy never takes a night off. He gives maximum effort every night. And, Eddie, the notion that guys want to rest is crazy to me. Like, I never came close to making $20, $30, $40 million a year. Number one, God bless him. But I would feel an obligation if I was making that type of money. I was like, these dudes paying me $40 million. I'm going to play 2 games in a row. Like I say, I played 2 games in a row and flew commercial. I played 4 games in 5 days and flew commercial. And the notion that these guys can't play back-to-back games with all the money they're getting paid is just crazy to me. And it's sad, to be honest with you. It's just sad because you're just disrespecting the fans. Like, they only going to get to see you one time a year in some of these situations. And you would think a guy was like, you know what, they're only going to see me one time a year. I'm going to play in that city. The notion that the commissioner has to come in and talk about it, but also extend the season is just ridiculous, flat out ridiculous. And I want to say this, I'm not one of these old guys who's get off my lawn You know, every time we say that, that's what we hear. If you're making $30 million a year, you can play basketball 2 days in a row. Come on, man. I don't think we're asking for too much. Bless you.
Dirk's preparing for his 20th season. How impressed are you that he can still play and be effective?
Well, it takes a lot of effort to be able to play basketball. And obviously, Dirk is one of my all-time favorites. Not just as a great basketball player, but just as a great person. And we're going to miss him when he's gone.
Charles, recently my wife was watching TV and she saw you talking about the removal of some of the statues. We've had some statues removed here. Were you talking about that on TV?
What I said was, I'm 54 years old. I've never thought about those statues a day in my life. Racism exists. It's unfortunate. We have to deal with it. It has nothing to do with statues. As a black person, I think that's a waste of my energy. It's a waste of my time. And it really does nothing to improve the conversation. Let's have a conversation. I'm not going to have a conversation about removing statues because that doesn't change anything. And I got applauded by a lot of people, which was cool, and I got negative from a lot of people. But I'll talk about race at any point. I think it's important and significant, but I don't think about those stupid statues.
On the subject, talk about the players when it comes to the national anthem, NFL, some NBA guys. Just talk about their reaction to that.
Well, I personally think a couple things. I think you should stand for the national anthem. I think you should visit the White House if invited. It shouldn't be dictated by who's in office. Obviously, I'm a Democrat. I have some strong disagreements with President Trump on immigration, DACA, and those things. I'm a big believer in immigrants. I don't call them illegal immigrants. I believe it because I think the Hispanic people are amazing. That's a big deal where I live in Arizona. I think the Hispanics are amazing people. I think they do work the blacks and whites don't want to do. I think we need to find a way to give them citizenship. Everything I talked about on my Hispanic show, when I talk about undocumented immigrants, I think they're amazing people, and I think they get a bad rap. But I think guys should stand for the national anthem because I think that's just my personal opinion. One of the shows I did was the relationship between black community and the cops. And I've taken some heat in the black community because I defend the cops. And I always defend cops. But that does not mean I want unarmed black men killed. You can do, there is a middle ground. I defend the cops, and some people come after me. Some people really appreciated it. But some black people say, I always defend the cops. And I said, well, first of all, I do defend the cops. But like I say, I want to make it clear, I don't want any unarmed black man killed. So one of the reasons I did that show was to provide a conversation. I thought the conversation when I spent the day with cops, I spent the day with the black community. We need each other. We need each other. The shows went great. We're going to do some more this year. But we need each other. The black community need the cops. And we have to find a way to work with the cops. We also have to find a way to punish cops when they do wrong. And I'm going to keep trying to provide a dialogue between the two communities.
You said that he was in St. Louis, the issues in St. Louis, they protested.
Number one, they're allowed to protest, do it peacefully, because the looting and the rioting solves nothing. What we need to come up with, we need an independent group to to judge the cops' actions. We can't have cops judging cops because, number one, that's just unfair. We need to find a way to have a cop, a public person, and have a committee in every city to look at all the evidence and come to a common conclusion. But you can't have cops looking at the actions of other cops because that's just biased. But I'm for peaceful protests. I think it's important. I think it's significant. But we have to come up with a system where a fair system to everybody. But if you're going to have cops judging other cops, that's not a fair system, period.
Can you elaborate more on the super teams? Do you think that hurts the league?
Of course it hurts the league. First of all, it hurts competitive balance. I think our fans at some point are going to say, why am I watching my team if we got no chance? I mean, think about that. Everybody knew it was going to be the Cavaliers and the Warriors last year going into the playoffs. The Celtics might have a chance, but it's still probably going to be the Warriors and the Cavs this year. So I'm just wasting 7 months of my life that I could be somewhere playing bad golf and fishing.
Kyrie,
but you came into the league when Lakers, Celtics were there not every year, but a lot of years, and everybody kind of knew those were, and it meant something when you played and beat those teams.
But number one is what you said, beating those teams. That's why Dirk is one of our all-time favorites. But Eddie, there's a difference. Those teams were drafted and traded for. They didn't get together and say, "Hey, we're all stars. Let's play together." That's the big difference. Like, you know, the Lakers were a super team because they drafted those guys. The Celtics were a super team because they drafted all those guys. It's fair to say that the Spurs and the Bulls are the only great NBA teams that did it, drafting their own players. The question, remember you asked me earlier, can you build your team? The Spurs and the Bulls did it the way we would prefer to see it done. Not guys getting together during the summers and we're the best players in the league. Let's all get together. They all did it through trades and through building through the draft.
But there are teams, I'll just throw out one, Portland did a great job picking two great guards, and they're fantastic players, but you know, it's not easy to build on that, and they can't get a free agent to come there, and you know, that's sort of, it's a flaw in the system, it seems like.
We respect those guys, though. And it's all right to do the best you can and not, you know, it's all right. You know, this notion that, you know, you don't win a championship, your life is a failure. I didn't win a championship, but I'm not one of those narratives. I think me and Karl Malone and John Stockton and Patrick Ewing, I think we're all right with life. You do your best. We're not going to call Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson Labrers, hey, can we piggyback on your coattails? There's something to be saying like, hey, we're pretty good. Let's give it our best. They beat us. We shake their hands. There's something to be said for that.
You keep up with football. If you had a chance to talk to Zeke, what would you tell him? What kind of conversation would you have with him?
I would tell him, you're a young kid who's a stud. We don't get the luxury of being like normal people. We don't get a chance to grow up through life. He's got to grow up. Being a famous person is not like being a normal person. You can take your time growing up as a normal person. You can make mistakes, nobody hears about it. We don't get that luxury when you're in the limelight. I take what he did very serious. I have a daughter. You can't ever put your hand on women. Let me repeat that. You don't ever put your hand on women. that being said, we don't get the luxury of being 22 and doing stupid things. We don't get that luxury. It's going to be on Fox News, CBS, NBC every single day. It's going to be on ESPN every single day. Every mistake you make when you're in the limelight is going to be on television. And I hope he grows up because this life is great, but it's also different because of the 24-hour news cycle, social media, and things like that. It's a different animal now.
If you had a chance, if you called and wanted to talk to you, what kind of advice would you give?
I said, get some good friends. Got to have good friends in this thing. Because you have to remember something. All those people around you ain't your friend. They just around you because you pay all the bills and buy them dinner every night. But there should be somebody, a friend of yours, who says, yo, man, let's go. This ain't a good situation. Let's go. But as I know personally, Ed has been in this game a long time. The people around you, you buying all the drinks and you buying all the meals, they ain't never going to tell you you're wrong. They ain't going to never tell you you're wrong. They want that free meal and they want those free drinks. And I would surround myself with people who say, hey, man, we've had enough tonight. This is situation, some guy, some girl, it's time for us to go home. That's really the only way you can solve these issues. You got to have good people around you who are not on the payroll.
Go back to TNT, the group y'all with, you and Ernie, Kenny, and Shaq. Let's talk about how y'all work together.
Well, I love the guys I work with. We have figured out how to be serious and have fun. That's why our show works. We can talk about the national anthem. We can talk about Colin Kaepernick. We can talk about the situation when I did the show between trying to work on a relationship between the black community and the cops, which I think is important because we need each other. We have done a fabulous job of being serious and being funny. I appreciate my bosses giving me the opportunity. When I came down to Dallas, when I was doing the Muslim episode last year, and I came down here to Irving, I spent the day with the mayor talking about Sharia law, and I spent the day with the Muslim family, Sharmina and her family. It was really awesome. And TNT lets me do stuff like that. They let me do stuff like that, and it's important for me because I want to be able to do stuff like that.
Charles, on the topic of the NFL, a few years ago, famously, Mark Cuban kind of predicted that the NFL might not be top dog for long. We've seen some ratings dip in the NFL. With your comments about the NBA and how they might be driving fans away, do you feel like the NFL might be in a similar boat right now with all their issues, concussions, whether it's political issues? Do you feel like the NFL might be at risk of going by the wayside?
The NFL is always going to be powerful. I think they got a couple issues. Number one, they own too much. It used to be Sunday and then Monday, and that was it. And now, you got Thursday. You factor in, I think the concussion thing is a serious issue, very serious issue. I don't think kids should be playing football today in high school, personally. I love football. But I don't think kids should be playing football until they're at least a freshman in high school. There's no reason for little kids to play football. Zero, in my personal opinion. There's no reason for young kids to be playing football. I think they should make it like you play when you get to high school. That's the first time you can play competitive football, tackling and things like that. But the concussion thing is a real thing. They can never make football safe. Football's never going to be safe. One of the reasons I respect it takes real men to play it. But it's never going to be safe. I love it. I'm going to continue to watch it and probably always going to watch it. But I wish they would change some things as far as letting these kids play football. They shouldn't be playing it.
Are you not for one more, guys? Are you
No.
at the game Monday night?
No,
Monday night?
I'll be watching Monday night.
Okay, you won't be in town?
No, I won't be. I've actually got. I'm part of my deal. I have to go to do CBS one weekend a year, so I'll be in New York doing CBS. But you know, I'm a big Jerry Jones fan. I like him a lot as a person. Him and Steven and Rich Dalrymple and those guys, I like them. I think the Cowboys are just fascinating. I do. I like Jerry Jones a lot, and I'm not a Cowboys fan, but I like Jerry Jones and Steven and Rich Dalrymple a lot, and I like watching the Cowboys from a distance. Go ahead. You have one more.
What's the big difference between life after sports today versus when you were playing?
Well, I have to keep working. These guys make so much money today. You know, I tell people the most money I made was like $5 million. These guys get $100, $200 million. Number one, God bless them. But that's the biggest difference. I mean, like, you see like guys making $30, $40 million a year, you're like, wow. As I say, I was blessed. I'm not complaining. The most money I made was $5 million a year, and now the average salary is like $9 million. If I had $100 million deal, now guys get 2 or 3 of those. If I had $100 million deal, y'all would be coming to interview me on an island. Y'all would be. I would be on an island. But there's also some negatives, you know, with the social media, which I do know social media. I hate social media. I would never do social media. You know, them with cell phone cameras and these guys, they're just under a lot more scrutiny. But like I say, the biggest difference, if I had made $300-400 million, y'all would be coming to visit me on the island, in between 18 holes.